Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today I have a custom 5v5 Blade on the Rocks Mapgen. We have Team 1 up in the north, Team 2 down in the... Wait, no, Team 2 up in the north, Team 2 down in the bottom. No, Team 1 down in the bottom, Team 2 up in the north. God, I just got completely confused, sorry about that. Why is Team 2 up in the north? That's not how shit usually goes. Anyway, let's introduce the players. Starting with the easternmost position for Team 2, and never mind, let's not start with introducing the players, but let's instead start with opening up the minimap, which I forgot to enable or re-enable after making some screenshots. But yes, let's start on the easternmost position for the southern team, for Team 1. In Piss Yellow, going Seraphim and opening first land, first air. Off to a great start, aren't we? We have Strix Inquisitor on that beach slot, or I would call it a beach slot. Then to the west of that, in Cyan, going Cyprian and opening first land, we have Grumpy. Up to the north, in pink, going Seraphim and opening first land, this time it is actually land, we have Delatha. To the southwest of that, in orange, going Cyprian opening first land, we have Nice Try. And last for the southern Team 1, we have Godzilla, going Seraphim, opening first land in yellow. Right, for the northern team, on their westernmost slot, just had to think for a moment, in Fecal Brown, going Cyprian and opening first land, we have Kramer. Let's just go with that. Then to the east of that, in red, going Aeon, opening first air, we have Babel. Let's go with Babel. Then to the south of that, in white, we have Frost Monster, going Cyprian, opening first land. To the northeast of that, in the Regal Purple, going Seraphim and opening first land, we have Nanocube Noob. And last, but certainly not least, down to the south in green, opening first air and going Cyprian, we have Rampier. Right, about the map, we are on a fully sized map, no zooming in this time, so full 20k. We have these two ponds on each side, with the areas that go into that for the respective players. Little plateau in the middle without any maxes on it. Bit of reclaim and not of reclaim. How much reclaim do we have on this entire map? 9.5k, let's say 10k, taking into account what has been reclaimed. A bit over 10k. So, decent amount, I'd say not too much, not too little. Generally spread around as you would expect it from Mapgen around any elevation or any rises in elevation. Oh well, not even rises in elevation, any changes in elevation. As the Mapgen likes to do it. Already a early T1 bomber out for Godzilla, going against Kramer, who does have already does have an air factory out and currently has a scout, so they will have seen that. Scout coming in for Godzilla to spot for the bomber. Bomber follows in, looking for a target, and locks down onto this engineer, I suspect. Yes. It drops, engineer dies, but NT4 Kramer is out. So the bomber gets one more drop, gets another engineer, 2 engineers, 100 mass killed, and ends up shot down by a Sky Slammer and a interceptor. Then a early drop, very early drop out from Nice Try. Going right here on the side, trying to deny a ramp here. That is could definitely work out quite well. There is only a single engineer there, up against 4 engineers by the looks of it in that transport. Certainly enough to overwhelm that. Also transport out for ramp here, but that seems to just be ferrying over engineers into the water. Transport drops. Engineers immediately start reclaiming the engineer of Rampier. and going after radar and the likes, or on the swords. Anything in the area. Let's see, there is already a bomber cute that is currently coming out. Immediately a radar started for nice try, and also immediately going for a land factory to secure that. Bomber, however, finishes. That could be a big issue. But if that factory manages to finish beforehand, that could still work out somewhat. And the factory doesn't need finish, so there is no the ability to get out AA and stuff like that. However, Bomber does latch onto the engineers, kills all but one. Engineer immediately starts moving, and AA is started inside the factory, though I'm not sure if that will be allowed to finish. By the looks of it, it will. Before that, Bomber gets another pass. And there's Sky Slammer. Immediately starts firing onto the Bomber, but the Bomber targets it down, almost killing it. So with that, I expect that this drop won't get too far. Saying that, Bomber does actually get shot down, and the AA survives, but another Bomber comes in. And more engineers start coming out for nice try in the factory. Bomber gets almost shot down. Never mind, it does get shot down. And with that, that position is currently somewhat safe. However, ACU for Rampier and also some support from Frost Monster is moving in, so I don't expect that to be too effective. In the meantime, there is already a submarine out for Grumpy, but also one for Rampier, so basically on equal footing there. Similar drop by the looks of it coming out from Kramer on the other side. Going on to the exact same position, but this one is only loaded with artillery. Only with some Medusas, meaning that will not do any actual that will not be able to put up any production capabilities. It will only kill off a bunch of T1 Maxes. On this side, ACU does get into range. PD started, but with an ACU and some RT in the area, I don't expect that to succeed. And with that, this attempt from Nice Try is denied. Big use of hover from Strix. Nice to see. Using the hover ability on the Sui for this airfilm. Meanwhile, in the middle, not much going on right now. Bit of aggression coming on from the Lalfa, who does have gun on the ACU. Pushing forward against a army that is moving in for Frost Monster. Frost Monster also moving in their ACU that has stealth and gun. So overall the ACU will probably be more survivable than the Seraphim counterpart. But on the other hand, this large spam army will just serve to feed veterancy into the gun ACU. As gun ACUs are very good at dealing with armies. At least with isolated T1 armies. Sui is about to make landfall, as they do generally move slower on the water, but they are still quite potent because they are easily spammable. T1 bombers, however, coming in, and those are very effective in dealing with any kind of hover spam like that, due to being easily spammed and for the Aeon also having some pretty decent AoE and some pretty good damage. Completely missed that Grumpy actually moved their ACU over into the area of their opponent, and that is also their submarine. But yes, using that commander also to kill off a bunch of naval factories. Very nice, very nice. Completely forcing their opponent out of the water. Or basically completely. And they already started or queued up their T2 upgrade on that, so they will be capitalizing on that. Gun upgrade now going out for Nice Try as well. Was also dropping some engineers to the front. And torpedo upgrade going out for Grammar, trying to, I guess, intending to use that commander for some naval support as well, to gain naval supremacy. the torpedo upgrade on the Cyprian ACU is very powerful, as you can see, especially against T1 Navy. 4 torpedoes of that and 1 frigate goes down. Now there is T2 Navy also already out for Grammar. There was an attempt to use these frigates to take that out, but with the presence of a torpedo launcher that did not succeed, and there is a submarine very close to finishing now. Top bomb was also in the area, not a good spot for Godzilla currently. Even with some gunships and, yeah, the top bomb, but I already pointed out. Okay, sorry, completely missed that. Apparently there was some fighting going on right here between the Larva and Frost Monster. What I expect to have happened is that Frost Monster was able to use their superior numbers of spam and just Commander to walk down their opponent. Though the Larva was also complaining about no air support. Which, looking at the fact that there is a Norther landed right here, might also suggest that there was an attempted Norther snipe on the ACU at the same time as well. So yes, air presence would have been neat in that case. On this side we have a tactical missile upgrade going out for Godzilla. And at the same time a bunch of gunships out for Babel, attacking their naval HQ. Or naval factory, that's not even HQ yet. Taking that out, and a top bomber overhead, in conjunction with this Barracuda. Not a good mix for this ACU. That is potentially going down very, very fast. To this Barracuda. Though the top bomber does get shot down by a bunch of inties. Jester locks onto the ACU for nice try, though a Jester won't do much against an ACU. The Norther in the area is gonna be a bigger issue. Looking at that, we obviously have T2 Air out for Babel and for Nanocube. I think also, yep, also for Kramer. On the southern side there is T2 Air out for Strix, and was almost forgot checking. Rampier also at T2 Air. So 4 players on the northern side with T2 Air. On the southern side, Babel, and as already pointed out, Strix. Now nice try as well. And also Godzilla, so everyone on his southern team also access to T2 Air. Meaning that those are currently on equal footing, though situation developed now that a Nanocube noob is on T3 Air. And so by looks of it is Babel. So I suspect that air superiority is gonna be something that continues to be very useful for the northern team. Grumpy getting out a bunch of Corsairs, trying to use those as a sort of deterrent, I guess. But already ASF out for Babel, that just denied that. Now, how's T3 Air here looking? 90% on T3 Air for nice try. I noticed that T3 Air is already queued up for Grumpy, though not yet started. And how's it looking here? Currently no T3 Air queued up for Godzilla. Who did get that missile upgrade on the ACU, but was forced to pull out due to Salem's threatening that commander. However, now with top bombers in the area, those are going to go down, as there is just a big cloud of interceptors that make air presence for Babel not impossible, but a bit more impractical. And a strat out for Nanocube noob. Let's see. Can we spot any good targets? Well, it seems to be targeted right here, however there is already shield pop placed right here in anticipation, I suppose. So that bomb will impact on the shield, but it can be placed into this general area to just hit the to hit that pigeon instead, and that would cause well, not sure if it would certainly cause the collapse of that shield, but it would definitely make it harder to do anything with that. But not being able to hit anything there, Bomber continues into this area, where it will definitely kill off the T2 Max right here, also causing heavy damage to the air HQ. The Bomber is pulling out a bit, now being targeted by the Intis of Nice Try. However, Bomber goes for a second pass, going after T2 power, and with that pass, yep, it also does take out the air HQ that was about to reach T3. Glurfer apparently very annoyed about Nice Try being behind on air. Though they made the heavy investment early on trying that drop, that generally does cause some issues. It does set you back a bit on eco, due to being forced to make that investment. But Strat goes for a bunch of additional targets and ends up getting shot down by the Interceptor Cloud of Godzilla. And yeah, the Lava pointing out that that Nice Try shouldn't go for ASF without the T3 power. Considering the situation, that is definitely definitely the wrong call, pointing that out, because they are facing Strat Bombers and T3 Air, and even a singular ASF can make a massive difference when dealing with Strat Bombers in your area. I'd say stalling through that before getting your power is just essential in that situation. Though they should refocus currently on getting that pigeon up. And they have stopped building the ASF out there, so they are. But considering the situation, definitely still going for the right move. And thus, I would not criticize them in this moment. At least not that much for what they are trying to make of the situation. Did they make a misplay at some point or miscalculation? Perhaps. Is that reason to completely flame on them for now being behind on air? I don't think so. Because especially if you don't anticipate going for T3 air or focus on other stuff as well, it does happen that you end up just behind. But more T3 air does come out, cause airs for Grammar now harassing the Nexus for Godzilla. However, in the south, there is now a cruiser out for Strix, and that is causing issues for Ramp here, as that does have a pretty amazing range and also creates a no-fly zone. However, they should still go for some destroyers as well, as the cruiser is not great in a 1-to-1 fight when the Salem is actually mitroed, getting into range. Can cause some damage, but you shouldn't rely it on your Soul Naval unit, as your Soul Naval unit. You do still need destroyers to gain naval supremacy. Especially now with Sirens on the field that have some TMD. Not great range on it, but is still usable. Babel actually on transport. Right, I think the commander was at the front, they are just pulling back now. Reasonable at this point. At 18 minutes? 19 minutes, sorry. Numbers. And right here, small push of Ishwas out from Godzilla trying to get forward. Also with a bunch of Othams right here. And let me just check. Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure because I recently rebound macros on my mouse so I can actually do the drawing with my mouse and not have don't need my hands on the keyboard. And yes, that also works. Completely forgot about that till now, but yes, also off the mount that just started to a Restorer and ACU combination that was causing, honestly, quite a bit of damage. Also still a bunch of Ishbars running around. Those will also definitely be able to overwhelm this small force right here. And by the looks of it, even though they did lose a lot of their naval production early on due to torp bombers and or generally bombers, they it seems like Godzilla was able to get back into the game somewhat, just spamming out a bunch of frigates to deal with the T2 Navy. However, they now have to worry about a Solace that is flying overhead and causing quite a bit of damage. The Solace is very good at killing stuff, or at killing Navy. But the T2 Navy for Krama currently still seems to be sufficient to deal with that. Cruisers going out for Grumpy, that is fair enough, as Cyprian cruisers also can double just as a main combat unit. Or as your main naval unit. The other thing is, even though they are less survivable than the Destroyer, they are also just cheaper to make, so not really a wrong call there. However, for Strix still going for cruisers and... Is that a... No, okay, I think that's a Destroyer. Okay, I know they are going for Destroyers, I think. If that is a cruiser, then that is a misplay. Because cruisers are, well, at least for Cyprian, not for Cyprian, for UEF and Seraphim, cruisers are for two things. Air control, some AA, and also just bombarding your enemy base once you have naval supremacy. But that is a destroyer, so red call there. Though that won't be too effective due to the much higher number of destroyers out for ramp here. The torp bombers right here also not helping. And by the looks of it, more flaming going on against. Nice try. Can you block people in replays? I'm just gonna disable them because I don't think I have anything of value to say right now, so let's just do that. And I think that was the first time I actually opened up this menu. Yes, you can actually have a bunch of settings right here. But yeah, let's just not encourage that flaming anymore. In the meantime, Grumpy goes down right here. They did have torps, but went out, but due to the just overwhelming naval position now for the Northern team, they were forced out of the water and then were just easy pickings to that ground firing of that navy. That torpedo upgrade was not sufficient to keep them alive. Grumpy, of course, pointing out that they have T2 Navy right here, though it is a big question of how long they will keep that. In the meantime, the Navy for ramp here currently seems to be focusing down the main base of Strix. Not looking too great for the Southern team now, is it? Godzilla, in the meantime, pushing, using even more Ishbars to push. Ishbars was one of the few T2 units that are very effective even at T3. Also with a bunch of Othams to help out. But just overwhelmed by both ACU and numbers from frost monsters, so they cannot keep up. They currently cannot keep up with that, it seems like. But at the same time, the strategy of just spamming out T1 Navy seems to have worked, as they did manage to force, Kreml back into their base. Also using a bunch of hover flag to protect and some Yenzins to protect from the air. Hover flag very powerful for both the Aeon and the Seraphim, as both factions do get access to that. A lot cheaper to produce than the cruisers, and you still get the very potent AoE of the flag guns. Though it does sometimes struggle with tracking some of the top bombers and stuff like that, in my experience at least. But especially against gunships, it's very good. It's very effective against gunships. Yeah, more top bombers being tried to be used, but without any great effect, as due to the aforementioned flag. And with that, it seems like Kreml will actually lose their naval factory, or the naval HQ. And with that, I think for the first time Godzilla actually getting some sort of naval supremacy in the northern pond as well. Now, is there any use of the current advantage from the northern team in terms of standoff tech or anything of the sorts? Well, Frost Monster is going for a Monkey Lord, so we do see an experimental. Also, good call. At 25 minutes, that seems like a reasonable idea. And a bunch of Salems making landfall program clear. The fun trick of the Cypern Destroyer is that it can just throw legs and start walking. Navy now just crushing the base of Strix, even with some Seraphim Navy in there. That, of course, gets access to these missiles on the cruiser. And that does overwhelm defenses for Strix, so that base is basically lost at this point. Those shields collapsing very fast. And with that, it's only a matter of time till the ASU dies. Godzilla did move into the back pond, gets Raz, and... well, okay, Strix does not die to the fire, but instead just decides to control K, seeing no point in continuing on this charade. And honestly, I can't really blame them for it. Though they did manage to get T3, interestingly enough. But in the north, well, okay, I was about to say, in the north, Godzilla now with a massive advantage, but actually having taken out the naval HQ, but there is actually a second naval HQ out for Grimmer. That is, however, currently under threat itself as well. Hammer Flag seems to have gone down, but Godzilla just starting to move up with a bunch of T3 NGs to build up some T3AA on the entire water. Also strategy that is not uncommon to see when people lost air, just spamming up AA literally everywhere, including the water. Big breakthrough in the middle apparently by Frost Monster, as there are no remaining units right here in this area out from Godzilla. But Krama does end up going down to the Othams by the looks of it. The Othams for Godzilla. Bunch of T1 bombers dispatched to try and deal with that, but still large numbers of or still a bunch of flag in the area. So a lot of these bombers will end up going down, but apparently just too many bombers, so that flag does end up dying, even after taking out a bunch of stuff. But base gets transferred over to Babel, whatever, and with that the naval game does continue for now. The push, right, yeah, I completely forgot about the Salems. Those Salems also did continue pushing up. Maybe one of the driving factors why Frost Monster was able to break through there. But on the other side, there was a similar push going out for Godzilla, breaking through, causing massive amounts of damage. Bunch of bunch of PD thrown up by Babel in an attempt to defend, but the big thing with PD, you can just walk around it. Though those issues are currently not doing that, and we see a bunch of bricks now on the field for Frost Monster. Right. There has been a start for Rampir to claim the base that once belonged to Strix. Also now starting to ferry over units with a bunch of transports. And also a bunch of reclaim energies in the area to, well, reclaim. But not only for Rampir, but also for Babel. And looking at that, around 17k reclaim to be had, so fair enough. Nice try, now also under threat as their base is starting to get fired on by these cruisers. Already built up TMD in defense, anticipating what is to come. With some gunthers though... Did they don't have range, or... yeah, they just don't have range. Problem there just being that cruisers do outrange gunthers, and or general T2RT, and thus you can't use those against cruisers. The other big problem would be that battleships outrange them as well, and while you can defend quite easily against cruisers on a land fortification, it's a lot harder against battleships due to being direct fire. In the north, even more Orphans make it through the water, starting to break through. We do still see all of these T1 bombers and now a bunch of destroyers as well in the area, trying to do something about it, but well, Orphans still get off a bunch of shots, taken out. Well, never mind, that T3 Max will actually survive. I have to criticize moving back on that because that T3 Max was nearly dead. But we now see T2 Navy out for Godzilla as well. They did manage to make their jump to T2 now, after being significantly delayed on that. And with that, they might be able to also put something up against the current air situation by getting up a bunch of cruisers of their own. And of course also just provide naval bombardment in this general area by just missile fire from cruisers. But the AA that is built up has started to force back the air units of the northern team, basically creating a no-fly zone, under which the Navy for Godzilla is able to push quite effectively. Though how effective that will be, that is still to see, as there is currently the Salems that made it onto land. They are now pushing against the base of Nice Try that I pointed out earlier. Just walking into that. On the plus side, those gunfighters actually have something to shoot at now. But Salem's very high rate of fire, and well, compared to land, or if you take your land units as a benchmark, they are also quite tanky. Meaning that, yes, this base just capitulating. The high range also not helping it, since due to that, the only thing that can actually fire onto these Salems is the artillery, which is also just easily primary down to die, or taken out due to that. Biddy is not effective against that. It does not have the range needed. The other thing with that, the ACUs right here are on the water, which basically makes sure that they are safe from most threats. Though, well, they aren't safe from Navy, and while you shouldn't expect normal Navy to move into that area, you can expect the Salems to just walk into the water there and cause damage there. Now, what we have right here, the Monkey did push through the middle, completely missed that, once again. Not paying attention to what's going on in the middle whatsoever. Very sorry about that. But there was a chicken built up by Godzilla that did take out the Monkey Lord, preventing too much more damage to be done from that. In the meantime, Salems are pushing back towards the water, or pulling back to the water, but not before effectively completely taking out the firebase that was built up. only leaving back a single RT and a bunch of TMD. Honestly, they could probably just commit now and march into the base of Nice Try, who is trying to throw up a Monkey Lord in order to to force any navy back out of that area. Let's see if they will be able to actually finish that and be successful in their endeavors. The start of a land presence has been started by Godzilla now on the base that once belonged to Kreml, with some T3 engineers in the area and also a large group of offense coming in. Though due to the large air presence, I would suggest getting up some AA in the area, maybe some static flag and some static T2 AA, as the air has been very important for the northern team. And still seems to be very important, with a bunch of Spectres and a bunch of Restorers now dealing with these offense. And even while this urban base is basically completely gone, the one singular T2 Air HQ is still producing Renegades. But all of the eco at least being reclaimed, which will definitely give some eco advantage to the southern team right now. And let's look at the mass that they are pulling in. Well, they definitely do. Yes, they definitely do need that eco advantage, as they basically have half the income of their opponents. Looking at the fact that they basically lost this entire area. If we go down here, that is not too surprising, since that is an attackable part for their eco. Monkey Lord does actually finish for a nice try and is now moving into against these Salems. Will take those down with its massive beam of doom, and thus forces the Salems to retreat, though being boats, Salems do not walk very fast. I mean, simply the fact that they are walking is already a pure wonder of engineering, but well, or marvel of engineering. You shouldn't expect them to walk fast at the same time. Aircraft carriers now also being started to be put in this bay area for Rampier, basically completely locking down the airspace. And with battleships in the area as well, there's basically no chance of getting back into that. The air situation continues up in the north with with Nano Cube Noob trying to posture with a bunch of ASF, but basically being forced away due to the presence of a bunch of flag that was just putting damage into these ASF, making any attempt to do stuff there very difficult. Now, where did that Monkey Lord go? It's right here. And by the looks of it, the plan with that seems to be just move that around the side to be completely unnoticed and, well, launch a surprise attack on ramp here. As there are basically no defenses in that area that just might be stupid enough to work. Rampier are also sending in top bombers of their own to help on the northern pond, as they basically have the free hand in the southern area. With the chicken right here that was built up by Godzilla, well, never mind, there are two chickens, pushing up against Frost Monster, though I was supposed to say they should probably push in against that, in against here, but then I just saw this cloud of bricks right here that would make that a very unfortunate decision. Or a very, well, yeah, very dangerous decision, as that amount of bricks will probably take out any experimental. More of them tried to be used in the north to just deny the area, once again an attempt to get some some factories up to get reclaim entries out. However, with the large presence of T1 bombers and gunships and the swords or the likes, I don't expect that to work out too well. Though saying that, the amount of cruisers did increase, and cruisers very effective in locking down the airspace. However, not good enough with a number of skimmers this high. At least I would say that if those skimmers were actually targeting down or focusing down the cruisers. Which they are not, however, well, which at least the first wave wasn't, meaning that only one of these cruisers does end up going down, leaving two alive, and allowing the two remaining ones to still bombard the area and take out the remaining top bombers. Bricks sent into the north to deal with the, well, attempted landing, or once again attempted landing. More of them trying to come in, but they need to collect for a proper assault if they want to achieve anything. Nanocube Noob now, due to their large presence in the area, starts to build up some air staging beacons, just to get up, just to repair and refuel all of their ASF. And a lot of these ASF are very damaged, meaning that they will definitely profit a lot from the air staging. And I think that's the first time I've seen the docking animation on the Seraph air staging facility. But I've pointed out many times, the good thing about air staging is that basically increases your effective HP pool on the ASF for each consecutive airfight. Now, the chickens do start pushing against the brick force. There were four. One did maneuver in a somewhat unfortunate way, meaning that it couldn't get its weapons down onto the bricks, and didn't succeed in just causing one chicken to die. But the three were still remaining, or sufficient to deal with that, and still managed to get that in quite well. Babel doing something very bold, moving that ACU in a transport very close to the front line. If that is covered on radar, then that would be very easy to snipe. Like, super easy. Though they are now moving up again into the area where there is proper ASF coverage from Nanocube Noob. But saying that, that probably is not good enough coverage to prevent just a complete snipe onto that from these ASF. Frostmonster with Cloak on the ACU, Cloak, Laser and Gun, utilizes that to try and to deal with these Yofuffers, as there is no Omni coverage by the looks of it. Yep. But spy planes getting into the area. Chickens are ground firing, trying to look at where the ACU is. However, the spy planes fly overhead, find the ACU, and with that, it is now targeted in, meaning that those chickens will continue firing onto that, even if the vision fails. That ACU is now doomed. Even if it's 38,000 HP, it will not get away from there. However, a Megalith moves in just in time to try and defend, but not before the ACU... it's being ground fired, never mind, there it goes. There goes the ACU for Frostmonster. 3 chickens against the Megalith, and well, never mind, there is not much of a brick force left. 3 chickens against the Megalith. I would bet on the chickens any day with that. None of those do actually go down. Never mind, one goes down. I guess it was just the death explosion of the Megalith in that case. But still, very good call there. The ACU for Babel now in the water right here in the area. Those Orphans could just move into right here, into this area, and utilize their tops to kill that. Double gun, and that is heavy shield on the ACU, but that's just 25k additional HP, and that will go down very fast under continuous fire. It has been noticed by Godzilla by the looks of it, and those Orphans are now moving into range, slowly tickling that shield. Big important thing, even if the DPS on that isn't too great, that shield won't regenerate due to shields having a cooldown from between them last taking damage and regenning. But Babel, seeing that they won't get out of there, decides to control K. And takes the easy way out. Now, the problem in this area did continue to escalate. The monkey did not make it through the area. And there is now a Megalith closing in. Teleporter started for a nice try, but it's just 6% done with no assistance. And we have Megalith and a bunch of bricks now moving in here. Their base is completely gone. Torpedoes on bricks aren't too amazing. Torpedoes on the Megalith, however, are. Meaning that as soon as those go into the water, that ACU is dead. Do they know that their ACU is there? Well, they have a good, hunch, let's say that. They know that there's something there, and I think at this point it's pretty obvious that it would be an ACU. However, for a moment we are still at a 2v2 situation, balancing out between Godzilla, nice try, and on the one hand, and on the other team, just Nanocube, Noob, and Rapier. Tom Bombers, however, do come in on the ACU of nice try as well. Megalith starts pouring its torpedoes into that, and there goes the Control K. Taking out the ACU of nice try. Meaning that Godzilla is now up against Nanocube, Noob, and Rapier, who also still have a around 1k eco advantage at this point. Mass production of chickens has started for Nanocube Noob, just to saturate the area with those. And the push right here in the backline will just continue, so Godzilla not standing too much of a chance right now by the looks of it. And though if they start claiming some areas right here, they could still potentially get back into the game. And they just have to get the AC of Nanocube Noob, who did however move into the water. Or both of the ACUs did move into the water. And, well, there are no offense with this force, meaning that those cannot take out the ACU, as there's no torpedoes with that. And with that, there would be torpedo bombers needed to take that out. But nice to see, these Yathofers actually supported by a very large numbers of lightning tanks. The Seraphim T3AA, which is very powerful, due to being sort of a beam weapon. I think it effectively works like a burst fire beam, but just has a fancy lightning animation. And, well, there was a chicken right here to defend. That does go down, however one of the exotic chickens also does go down in that push as well. But not before the air crit for Nanocube Noob dies. And with that, I think for the first time in this entire game, air control is firmly in the hand of the Southern team. Now down here the Megalith does continue to push against Godzilla, with these bricks supporting as well, though those are almost dead. Another Megalith pushing right here. Not a great situation to be in, but, well, possible to say it is still manageable, but honestly, no, it is still manageable, because basically it's just a push to whoever can get to their opponent's ACU first. Because the on the land side, Godzilla did actually start to break through against their opponent quite effectively, and, well, I also just realized I underestimated the ASF count for Nanocube Noob, so they do still have air supremacy. But they lost their HQ, meaning that they won't be able to rebuild that. And a bunch of res cycles now also go down for Nanocube Noob, which will definitely reduce their eco income, their mass income. Mass stored-wise, by the looks of it, Godzilla floating a lot of mass, not being able to spend their income, so their eco disadvantage right now is not of too much importance, as they can build anything at maximum rate. However, they now also are losing their main base due to Megalith fire. There are two chickens moving in to try and take that out, as well as a bunch of T1 bombers. But it's not looking too great, and with the destroyers that are now also in the water, that's also a bit of a issue. There are Orphans trying to deal with that, but well, not only do the destroyers do the Sims have better torpedoes, they also have more HP and torpedo defense. Not a great combination. But there are T1 bombers helping out there as well. Right, I think the reason that the economy for Godzilla is actually looking this good is that they are just reclaiming a lot. And yeah, we can see that they are making a lot of income just from reclaim. That's this number right here, the first one, as well as the total reclaim number, which we can also check here at 195,000 mass reclaimed. That's a game ender in reclaim. And there's a lot of reclaim to be got. Looking at it at the entire map, we are looking at almost 400,000 reclaim. Now over 400,000 reclaim. Right, Orphans did actually make it into the water right here. Completely missed it for a moment. Just saw that. And now are starting to fire into the AC of Nanocube Noob, who does have advanced nano and thus is getting a bunch of regen out of there. But still slowly losing HP due to that, so not able to outheal all of these torpedoes. Ramp here also in the area with their ACU. Now, they are getting out of the water. I think that's probably the worst thing that they could do in this situation, considering the fact that the actual normal firepower of an of them is much worse than their torpedo firepower. Like, Orphans are much better as a tank than they are as a submarine or torpedo unit. And thus, them trying to do, or thus these ACUs trying to get out of the water is probably a really, really bad idea. ACU for Ramp here right here, but the Orphans do move out of the water. Definitely miscalculation right here, since that ACU could go down. But Ramp here deciding to go out of the water, probably in one of the biggest dips that we have seen here. Taking a lot of fire from these Orphans and dies. Because as I already said, those Orphans are powerful. But they do end up going down to magnet fire now, meaning that two Orphans are left against the against the advanced nano ACU right here that will definitely survive that. Nanocube Noob also now with a Soul Ripper. In my opinion, somewhat underutilized experimental, as when you have air control, it is just super effective. Up here, Maglove's being used to try and get some sort of naval control back. And due to the high reliance on cruisers, that does actually work. And with the amount of not of submarines, of destroyers in the area increasing, those will slowly just get tickled to death by the destroyer torpedoes. The destroyer that is actually the primary target also just being repaired by a bunch of NGs, making it a lot more viable than it should be. Though, I don't think that that will save it at the end. But a end is in sight. And it seems like that Godzilla was actually able to get a bunch of stuff pulled back. However, a counteroffensive for Nanocube Noob has now started, as they have a chicken and a bunch of bricks right here. However, there's no longer anything left for Godzilla to respond to that. They are working on their own chicken, but they do have a bunch of mass stored. Never mind, it's just lacking a willpower right now. And I don't think they will be able to... Well, never mind, they might be able to get the chicken up in time, but... Never mind, there's also a Monkey Lord already coming into that base. And with that chicken facing off against both a Monkey Lord and another chicken, as well as a sizable force of bricks, I don't think that that will be sufficient as a defense. And never mind, it's actually 2 Monkey Lords. But there are still 2 chickens right here and a combatant Zaku, which is very tanky and has the ability to overcharge, though that does still require E-storage. Not sure if there is still E-storage in place with the base going down. Well, there is some right here. And wrong button. Right here. So those can still be very powerful, though those chickens completely out of place, allowing these monkeys to break through, and with that, I don't think that Godzilla will be able to actually pull back from this now, as they no longer have anything resembling a base left, and their entire production capabilities were just gutted with that. Except for the naval production, though, with the ACU of the opponent not being reachable from their navy, I don't think that will matter too much. I say that, though I just realized they could, in theory, go for T3 Navy, get an aircraft carrier out, and start building top bombers to snipe the ACU for Nanocube Noob. That would work. Hypothetically, at least. But the 2 Maglev here are still in place, and well, another one right here. Those can just push up against this thing right here against the ACU for Godzilla, and that would be that. Monkey Lord for Godzilla trying to push through the southern pond, but it was noticed by Nanocube Nuke, meaning that there are top bombers on that as well as a bunch of destroyers. And with that, Monkey Lord will not survive. Well, there it goes, yes. And let's see. Well, that ping was basically spot on to where the ACU was, though there is no sonar ping or intel ping in the area, so they do not know where that ACU is right now. I mean, they do know that there's something here, just assuming that that is neither of them, though it would be hilarious if that was the ACU, to be honest. But Monkey Lord now also moving into the water, while the torpedoes on the Monkey Lord are not quite as good as on the Maglev. They are still usable. Would not recommend building a Monkey Lord just to get use torpedoes. Something that I can recommend doing on the Maglev when you do have the eco for it. But does work, and that's artillery fire. But to look at that, a Scathis. Though at this moment, a Scathis was a complete waste of mass, as there's no longer anything to target with it. Like, a Scathis is intended to just take out a base, because it has right spread, some pretty decent damage over right spread. Well, if you look at this map, there is not much that you could call a base left. This here, on the other hand, this nuke, is a much better call, as a nuke is a precise, is basically precise to that just kills anything on the spot that it's targeted at least if there is no SMD, but without a base there cannot be an SMD. And in this water I'm pretty sure there would also just be nothing in range of the SMD. But Scathis fire lands, takes out a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff that was left. And last desperate push of Authams and 2 chickens tries to go through the middle, I guess, to find the ACU for Nanocube Noob. And I mean, if that does break through, that would work. However, the units for Nanocube Noob do seem to be zeroing in on the ACU of Godzilla, who is running away, but wasn't fast enough and now is in sonar range of one of the Monkey Lords. So they have been spotted. Meaning that they will no longer be able to really push back. pings on the ACU do go out. And I think we all know where this is going. And yes, there are a bunch of movement commands to go into that. Top bombers also coming in and starting to drop their ordnance against the into the water against the ACU that does not have any survivability upgrades and thus ceases to exist in the form of just causing nuclear hellfire at the bottom of the ocean. Right, with that, I hope you enjoyed this cast. If you did, leave a like. This was streamed live on Twitch, so if you want to check that out, link to that will be down below in the description, as per always. Just like the link to the replay, and also both have Discord and the FAF client. This was played on the on that Forged Lines, our special client that there is for Supreme Commander Forged Lines. Yeah, we have a bunch of multiplayer stuff, performance improvements, stuff like that. Nice stuff, go check it out if you aren't part of the community already. It's quite nice. Other than that, I think I already told you to leave a like if you did enjoy this. If or don't, I mean I can't force you. If you want to be notified when I put out more videos like this or more casts, which will definitely happen, you can always subscribe, it's completely free, and yeah, with all of that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you again in a future cast or stream. Until then, bye!